Hello everyone, Oren again. I've been running from some rather strange-looking men and women wearing all-black suits. I keep seeing them out of the corner of my eye when I would walk to a store to get food. Strangely enough, they seem to stay out of sight, where I could see them, but as soon as I try to focus on them, they disappear. I don't like being followed in all my adventures I've had. Something following me never came out to be good. While I am safe, I have another place to tell you about. This one was directly after meeting with Alex. After a quick flash of light, I was transported to a new dimension. Oddly enough, while I was traveling, I was able to see the space in between dimensions. It looked to be a blank, empty page, a white canvas ripe for painting. In the distance, I could see scribbles appearing on the page like words were being written. I couldn't make it out as it was so far, but as soon as I was able to read the first line, I was flashed into a new universe. The song of birds was filling the air. The gentle call of the wind and the trees rustling their leaves, dancing to the music of the wind. It was the most beautiful place I'd ever been. Serenity was the definition of this place. It was as if this place was the concept of peace. Just a moment of bliss in my otherwise hopeless future. The smell of sweet flowers and the songs of birds filled the air. I was in a daze of bliss when a woman walked up to me. Naturally, I was very defensive and stood up in shock. "Whoa, easy there. I just thought I saw lightning strike my field here, but it was just you. Are you okay, stranger?" The mysterious woman approached me with a smile, soft expression. I looked in confusion as she was dressed head to toe in leaves and vines. Yes, I'm fine. Where am I? The mysterious woman answered. Let's start with the name. My name is Tikva. What's yours, stranger? I looked puzzled. Not every day I see someone in such immaculate beauty and poise. I'm sorry, my name is Oren. She looked at me and smiled before she said, Well, Oren, nice to meet you. Why are you here? Do you need help? I smiled back awkwardly. I never knew someone can pull at my heart with just a smile. I felt like an ice cube, and she was the sun, warming me and making me melt at the same time. Yes, I need to talk to you and whomever else I can. She waved at me and pointed at what was her home. Well, let's sit down and talk. I would like to know why you are wearing such a strange getup. I was a little confused about her dialect and slang, but the suit was able to explain it to me. I built this suit. It's made of a very advanced technology I can't explain in detail right now. She scratched her head. Tech what? Never mind. Let's get inside and warm up with some tea. We can talk then. We looked at each other and she held her hand out, so I grabbed it, assuming that's what she wanted. But we walked hand in hand together. Was this what love felt like? Did I meet someone who I'm compatible with? We got to the house. As I walked in, the front of the home was made of all wood. It looked like it was one large tree that was shaped into a home. The more I looked, the more I was certain. The wood was all one piece and wasn't a single carving mark at all, down to the table and the chairs. How is this made? She looked at me puzzled again. I learned to love that face. Such innocence and wonder. What do you mean? The world tree provides us a home, silly, you know that. I looked back into her green eyes. They looked like I was staring into a forest during dusk or dawn, as if the light was shining through the bright green leaves. What you staring at, Oren? You okay? She responded. I shook my head to snap out of my trance. I was swooning into this woman. For the first time in my life, I felt hope. I was lost in your eyes. My apologies. I need to speak about an issue, but I need to run some tests. Wait, your home is from a tree. So this is one tree. She laughed and blushed a little. Well, Oren, you sound new. Somehow you don't know what the world tree is? You're just on a branch high in the sky. Here, I'll show you. She gestured for me to a window. I could feel the gentle breeze. As she pointed to the outside, she said, Look, that is the world tree. I rubbed my eyes. I'd never seen anything as beautiful. A giant tree stretched hundreds of miles up. We were so high the clouds were covering the ground and the roots looked like small sticks. I saw thousands of settlements scattered across the branches, large cities and homes. People were walking about in the distance around the town hall. I closed my jaw as Tikva said, You ain't from around here, huh? Where are you from, Oren? I snapped out of my trance. Yes, that. I come from a very advanced race in a different dimension. I must warn you of a possible threat to this universe. It's called, she cut me off, the Void, yes? Yeah, it was a threat long ago, but it seems to have skipped us. Gave us the greatest hope and gift. The World Tree. Without it, this planet was barren. We were all struggling to survive. The Void gave us hope. And life. I didn't know what to say. This was the first time I felt true peace. I started to cry uncontrollably. You don't understand all the pain I've been through. Lives I saw die, whole universes and dimensions completely wasted. When this was the answer. Thank you. She hugged me and I collapsed. It's okay, you're safe now. Hey, tell you what, why don't you stay here and help me around the farm? I could use a helping hand. Months passed, and we ended up falling in love. He had a great life even when I did a scan with the suit. It always came back negative. But things seemed too perfect as my now fiancée woke up one morning and was sick. She kept vomiting, having cramps. We decided to go to a shaman after a week of this. We headed to the main town, which was across the tree branches. The center of the town was immaculate. Oddly enough, this is the first time I've ever been here. The wood roads were soft and lush, full of life and creativity, down to the very flowers. The memories of this place warm my heart to this day. As we entered the hospital, it seemed like it was empty. Some doctors were there waiting for patients, I assumed. Where is everyone? I whispered to Tick. Well, no one is sick here. The World Tree keeps us in perfect health. There is no death or illness, only life and prosperity, Tick said to me in a cheerful tone. Interesting. I'll need to run some tests later, I thought to myself. After a few minutes of waiting, we were seen by a doctor who ran a few tests, but the manner was entirely holistic. There was no tools, no diagrams, no machines. To describe how intriguing this was, the doctor rubbed some powder on his hands and they started to glow. After he hovered his hands over her body, they started to glow different colors. He got to her stomach, and it was bright pink. The doctor proceeded to get a bowl and wash his hands off. He came back with the news. Ma'am, you are with child, and it is a girl. It was the happiest moment of my life. We jumped in joy, and something beautiful happened. The room was growing pink flowers that smelled of honeydew. I don't know what it was doing, but it felt like the tree was celebrating with us, and shortly after we went home and laid down to sleep. The night was rough. It started in my dream. I was on a boat with my wife and daughter. We were looking out into the massive expanse of the tree from below by the roots. It was majestic and beautiful. Lights filled the sky as bioluminescent lights filled the branches. It was a sudden shock when the light started to dim. and the tree looked as if it was wilting and rapidly dying. I could hear the pain screams of the people as the leaves turned black and began to fall. All those people fell to their doom. With a sickening splatter, they slammed into the base of the tree near us. The blood of those people filled the ocean, painting our boat a dark crimson. The smell of iron filled the air along with the sound of screams. It wasn't until now I noticed. A large mouth approached the tree. As it opened, the tree started to splinter and uproot itself. All the lives that were on that tree still were sucked into that massive maw of the creature. A black hole was formed in his mouth, as I could see the tree spaghettified and bending light as it entered the event horizon. The boat was slowly rising to the creature's maw as my daughter was rocketed. My wife tried catching her, but she was only able to secure her arm, and the gravitational pull was too great. Her arm was torn from her socket, and her body flew into the beast's mouth. I couldn't breathe or think. I was in a haze. The pain was too much for me. My wife jumped into my arms, and all I could feel was pain. We held each other there one last time, shared a kiss as we flew into the black hole together. Before I could touch the event horizon, time seemed to pause. I heard a voice. "This is a warning. Keep moving. I need more stories. I need to feed." I was able to move when I saw the same creature earlier. Pale skin, no eyes, nose, sharp teeth, thin lips. He slowly floated towards me and smiled. "It's time to wake up, Oren. And you. Don't forget, I can still hear your heartbeat. I can smell your fear. I'm coming." Just as quick as the nightmare had come on, was just as quickly as it faded. I awoke screaming in terror. I was covered in a sheen of cold sweat. My body felt as if it was being torn apart from the inside out. Tick woke in worry as my pain was so massive, all I could do was rock back and forth. It took hours to subside. Tick asked, "What happened? Are you okay?" I looked at her worried. "Tick, I need to build you a suit. The void is coming. I need to show you something." Tick waved me to a secret part of the house, one I had never been to before, but it seemed to be in the branch itself. "Look, love. This is why we don't worry about the void." She moved a curtain hiding a giant mural, one depicting the void. The exact creature I saw being slain. The person who stood over his body was... It was me. I don't know how, but it is. Tick, what does this mean? How do I kill this thing? In the background was the void tree. It filled me with hope, and then Tick responded. "We must all follow our path. Yours seems to follow greatness, defying all odds and possibilities to overcome the void, the ultimate evil, the great dying." Tick smiled at me. This smile was always comforting, filling me with hope. If I'm destined to defeat this being, how or where do I start? Is there anything on my process of doing so? Tick looked and continued to smile. "No, silly. It's just a prophecy told by my people and written by the tree. The void has left us alone for a reason. It helped us thrive for a reason." With a moment of clarity, I realized this void isn't destroying this place because the place is his story. He must be tied to his narrative. There's no other reason why we would be bringing life to a place than just leave while leaving countless other dimensions in complete ruin, all to be swallowed by his massive maw. If I can somehow remove this link from this dimension, I could beat him. I could end his story. With my new theory, I set in motion a series of tests. Many years passed by with nothing conclusive. It wasn't until the few days I was there did I find something concrete to use. In my testing, I found the world tree itself contained a massive core. This core had the same general wavelength as the one the void emits when he speaks to me. This is it. The link between the two. I found a way to end the void. The only issue is if I do this, then my daughter Kieran and Tick will either have to come with me or they'll die on the tree. I must destroy this tree. So I sat my wife down. Tick, I found a way to end the void once and for all. Her face lit up in excitement as she contained her screams. Oren, really? What is it? She said excitedly. I looked at her in her beautiful eyes. It's the tree. The soul or the origin of the void is within the tree. If I destroy the origin, I will effectively destroy the void. However, everyone on the tree will die, and I can't live without you or Kieran. I need you to come with me to a different place after we destroy the tree. We'll be safe. Her smile drained from her face, but she had a look of determination and acceptance. I'll get our daughter, and we will meet you by the boat. I smiled, and I gave her a large hug. Then I pulled a device out of our closet. It was a spatial disruptor designed to take any wavelength and reverse the polarity, effectively destroying anything I set it to. I need to plant this in the tree where the void soul resides, and once I do, I'll get on the boat, and we'll get a safe distance away from the tree. She shook her head and stood up. We got to the base of the tree. I gave my daughter a hug and my wife a kiss. Daddy, please be careful. I smiled and waved with an act of confidence. However, I was terrified. I started drilling into the tree and got a layer into the bark when I noticed it was hollow. I shined my light into the tree, but the light seemed to be consumed by the ever-expansive darkness within. I had to go by my readings. Luckily, the suit kept the exact quadrants of the wavelength, so it was a rather easy climb. On my way down, the trunk deep in the roots, I could hear a rhythmic thumping vibrating in the tree. I was only but a mile from the spot now. It sounded like a heartbeat. As I descended downward in the dark expanse, I kept hearing its voice. Turn back now, child. You will regret this action. I just yelled into the dark. This ends today, Void! I kept ascending, roughly 100 feet from the spot. When I'm bombarded with images of horror, people's arm muscles are being ripped out by tendons. When I was seeing creatures eating someone's teeth like candy, crushing into a fine powder. I saw a man seeing his friends being bifurcated in front of him by an ungodly creature. All these images flooding my mind, sending chills down my spine, and it was when I saw it. The bleeding, beating heart of the monster. It was large, and every single beat of this thing was so massive, it sent shockwaves through the tree. I was so close to it that I could smell the disgusting stench of rotting corpses emanating from it. I'd rappelled further down where I was, hovering just above it, when I dropped the signal disruptor on its fucking heart. The void yelled and cried as I activated the device. I'll kill you and your family, Oren. How does a mere story dare try to harm me? Its words shook me to my core as I winced upwards as fast as possible. Reaching the exit of the tree, I could still hear it cry and curse at me. I got on the boat and my family and I sped off. Within no time at all, the tree slowly caught on fire. It was a black flame covering every possible inch of the tree. The cries and the screams of the people were horrible. Some jumped off the tree and splattered in the water nearby. The lake below became thicker as more blood and viscera poured into it. The smell of iron and burning bodies filled the air. The very community my wife helped make was crying out to her as they died. I could see her cry silently and cover her mouth. as she tried her best to cope. I held her and my daughter firmly to support them. I've been through this before, but they were pure and innocent, and I don't want them to deal with or feel the pain I feel daily. After an hour of screams and the splashing of dead bodies hitting the water, he went silent. The tree was just a smoldering pile of ashes. The black fire was still silently burning in the background, and finally, it was over. The light of the sun was rising in behind the tree, birds were chirping in the air, and I felt hope. I beat him, Tick. I won. We and countless others will be safe from here on out. When I looked, Tick smiled. A large smile. It was as if hope was spilling out from her every smile. For the first time in thousands of years, I felt peace. And then time seemed to stop. All sound was deafened, the birds frozen in the air. The warmth suddenly grew into a deep cold, a cold so chilling I could feel my very soul being frozen solid. Somehow I was able to move in this frozen time. It was then I heard it. I heard it speak. Silly child. You tried to end me there, didn't you? You found my home, decided to burn it down. You destroyed my heart. I do not need mortal instruments anymore. All things will become the void. Except you. I have much larger plans for you still, but your family will only hold you back. Don't try to speak. It won't work. Now, watch as I consume them too. The void appeared in the sky above, consuming the sun, filling the whole planet with pitch blackness. I grabbed for my family and held on as tight as I could. But it separated us. Its power was too much for me still. The void opened its mouth and I could see each layer of my family's skin being peeled off inch by inch, then muscle, then blood. They were being flayed in zero time, and I couldn't even cry as I saw my daughter Kieran die first. She was only 6 years old. Tick was killed slower, as she was stripped, starting from the feet up. Her bones turned to ash as the void made sure her smile was the last thing that I saw before stripping it all away from me. My hope was stripped away from me. All that I love was destroyed. Again, I couldn't even mourn before the suit decided to remove me from the dimension. In a blinding flash of light, once again, I moved up the stack. And once again, my life was made trivial, being but a story. I ask you, whatever your name is, do you believe in hope? Do you feel like life always finds a way? After that event for me, hope is dead. I need to rest. My heart hurts. I don't want to remember this anymore. I'm sorry. Until next time. Signed, Oren. Hey there kids, it's me, MrCreepyPasta, and I want to tell you thanks so much for watching tonight's video or listening to tonight's episode of the podcast. Quick reminder, I am also a narrator over at Chilling. If you guys like the stories that you're listening to here, then I'm sure you'll like the stories that you can listen to over at Chilling, because they're almost the same thing. I'm still narrating them, but you can select your own background music or background sounds, and you can select a whole mess of other narrators, such as Autumn Ivy, Swamp Dweller, and a bunch of my other friends. If you guys are interested in checking out Chilling app, starting up with a free trial, you can use the link in the description down below. Or you can head over to thechillingapp.com and also use those free trials to win prizes from their giveaways. And as always, I would love to give a big thank you to everyone who's supporting me over on Patreon. You guys are the real MVPs. You guys keep things going, especially while things have been nuts for me over the past couple of months, and things have been getting crazier and crazier as time goes on. You guys are the ones who are keeping me sane, and I mean that with all sincerity, that you guys have helped me immensely. So, in my personal life and my professional life, I want to give a very big thank you to Jordan Alexander Sanchez, Jakob Fenske, Burnett, Kraus, LaQueda, Canizales, MrCreepyPasta, PebisPleaser, Joseph Calarrudo, BuddhaBee, Dante, Kinkade, Foxhound 803, Mephistopheles, CursepoxPrimarch, Bastion, Beefcake, Cultist, Love You M, INSANITYGamerX, Cornejo, Yarghoul, kearns, himbojerry, SamaHigh, CrusaderChocobo, Atomaurus, Captain Scurvy, Escabine, Braden Morris, Nate Cull, Our Min Sec Time, Angelus, Seclude, That Creepy Chick, Red Shadow Cat, Xavier and Cheyenne, 6 Gay Rats in a Trench Coat, Turtleman, Cryolinium, Lord Life's Best, Goring Trimagacy, Mr. Marcus Blitz, Michael Limchok, Dirt Diver 030, Matt Bach, Voice of Sand, Shelly J, Ficamel, Deleted Account, Melted Lake, Polly Sue, William King, Sashi Suzaku, Stricken, Freddy Krueger, Happy Birthday Jason Wilson, Lisa Cottrell, Caspian, Hades Nephew, Tater Chip, Acid System, Mog, Kiri the Sloth, Fester's Lampshade, Nico Kayo, The Ginger Bros, and Stormcrow, Daniel Polson, and Corey Kenshin. To everyone on this list, everyone in the description, and of course anyone who could support even just $1, thank you all so much for making my life significantly easier with this. And if you guys would like to be able to join any of the names that you see here or down there or anything at all, head over to patreon.com/MrCreepyPasta. And with that, I wish you all a very, very pleasant night and sweet dreams.